I wasn't dropping out of high school and being like, I'm going to be a photographer or I'm going to be an explorer. I was dropping out of high school and basically putting up my middle finger to the world around me and saying, I know better than everybody else. And the truth is that I didn't. I've had a tremendous amount of luck and serendipity around what I've fallen into and how I've found that. I have also had incredible mentors, and I've been surrounded by kindness and people that have been invested in my well-being and my future, even at the lowest times. It makes a viewer feel something, anything, so long as I am. At the moment, I didn't have a goal, and what happened was I was able to formulate goals through a lot of counsel from people around me as they were trying to help write me on the course that I was on, because it could have easily gone the other way. Men in America who drop out of high school before the age of 15 die. It's not about whether or not they're successful. They just don't live. And so, this could have easily gone a dramatically more tragic direction. I've been very lucky. What I believe that the decision my parents was making was, we cannot self-destruct in the pursuit of our child's well-being. At some point, our well-being must come first. And I think a lot of people would disagree with that, but I actually fully agree with that decision-making process, in that how can a family be well off, and I don't mean that financially, but how can a family be healthy? Patriarch and matriarch are self-destructing. We can't be. It's that old airline line where, we're on the airplane and we are reminded, please, secure your mask before helping others. And at some point, that is a universal truth. If you are on an airplane that's going down and there's no oxygen and you're trying to help everybody else out, and then you pass out, you can't help out anybody from that point forward. What kept me going, more specifically, was the idea that I needed to give something back to the world together. And I remember feeling that very much as a teenager. And somehow that I was missing the mark when I was dropped out of high school and doing drugs. I felt like I was not hitting that mark. I was engaging in behaviors that were more self-sabotaging than they were uplifting. But I always knew that I had some level of purpose that I had to live up to, that I would not allow myself not to live up to. After the avalanche on Gasherbrum 2, which is 10 years ago, this coming February, it pushed my career into arenas and stratospheres that I never really imagined. I'd say it's arguably one of the reasons that I've had the great good fortune to be in partnerships and doing brand work for people like Rolls-Royce. I think that day the avalanche occurred was the jumping off point for sort of the second act of my life, which has been this photography and exploration career. It also was the beginning of horrendous struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder and having to unravel childhood battles that and childhood traumas that had come back and sort of proliferated in the wake of the avalanche itself. I view that day and that avalanche, that event, as a singular point in which my entire adult life sort of started, for better or worse. It was also, the beginning of struggles with real alcoholism. It was the beginning of the end of my marriage. It was the beginning of a long spell of depression. It was the beginning of, a lot of darkness. And yet at the same time, it was the beginning of an explosion in my career. It was the beginning of opportunity that took me all over the world to tell stories. The way that I've managed to thrive outside of a traditional trajectory is sort of unyielding perseverance around my goals, and also having very clear goals. So there's something to be said for identifying that which you are after and then being relentless in that pursuit. Of course, I don't advocate a relentless pursuit that harms others, is at the expense of others. But I would say that there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with the pursuit of one's goals to the highest degree, or to the highest level they feel called. And oftentimes that sacrifice can be, it can be pretty painful. You're sacrificing pieces of your personal life, you're sacrificing relationships. And I think it's, you know, part of what I've done is I've been willing to sacrifice. I've been willing to forego elements of comfort. I've been willing to sacrifice time for my goals, time that other people would sort of place elsewhere in other arenas of their life. There's no one answer to that. There's no way to answer how exactly I've been able to do it aside from following that which is most true to me.